So I have a new mic, so I'm just testing it out right now, so hopefully everything sounds okay. We're going to be getting into generative art, utilizing AI, and we're going to be using Adobe Firefly, which is in beta, the Photoshop beta, DALL-E, which you'll need an account for, which is free, and Stable Diffusion, which all free. But basically, we're going to be doing some testing against the AI, against each other. But I wanted to kind of show you guys how to go through and utilize this and use this as a designer. And you're welcome to use whatever you produce in your final design for your mobile app. But anyway, let's get started with text to image. So you guys should all be kind of familiar with this, where you type in a prompt and then it spits out a couple different ideas. So I'm going to be doing the same prompt across all of these AIs. So let's see, turtle, Pope, with dragon cult incantation book in a church. Yeah, which is an Elden Ring reference. Alright, here we go. So it does take a second, but it gives me 4 different produced images. And what's kind of cool about this is you can obviously download these, favorite these, but you can use this little wavy button over here in the top left, show similar, and it will show similar results. So I think I really like this one. So it's going to take this one that I want to show similar, and it's going to produce similar results. Cool. So this one's actually pretty cool. But on the right side, you can change your aspect ratio, like what size image you want. Do you want this to look like art? Do you want it to be a graphic, a photo, or none? You can mess with the styles, which is really fun. So adding this photo content made it a little bit more realistic, which is, this one's pretty cute. And we can look through the styles. Let's go for Baroque. Maybe we'll go back to art. And we'll give it digital art. Color and tone. Maybe we'll do a warm, golden hour, wide angle. Just kind of randomly picking. But I'm going to go in and generate. And so it's kind of using not only my text, but my little style prompts to create my image. And I actually really like this one. So when you download it, if you choose to download any of these images, they do come with like a little Adobe Firefly watermark at the bottom. Of course, you would like edit that out, but it should be noted that I mean, ethically, if you're producing art with an AI, you shouldn't be deceptive and claim that this is something you made. It's totally okay to use this, and especially for what we're doing, but yeah, please be honest about what you're making. So I'm going to use this top left image, and we're going to do something with the generative fill. And generative fill is another option you can do in Firefly Beta. So what we're going to do, let's give him a Pope hat, because this is Muriel of Elden Ring. And I'm just using the add button. I'm going Pope hat generate. And it's just gonna take a second, and that is not a Pope hat. But again, it gives you a couple different options. And you can mess around with that one's okay. You know, we could do more. Let's check out a little more. So some of your results are not always going to be, some of them are going to be funny, and some of them are going to be not what you want. Sometimes it really does, the generative fill is great, sometimes it's not. You know, we'll stick with this one. And the reason I want to do this one is because if you remember where I subtracted, you notice like this background was gone. So it's generating that fill on what it thinks it should look like and generating this top of the head. So yeah, basically all you're doing is just like highlighting, or in this case it looks like an eraser. And let's give him like a feather. So you know, essentially erase that part, and the AI will go in and fill in that part of the image. That one looks good. Cool. So at this point I could download it. I'm not going to, but I want to show you guys some of the other things that you can do. There's generative recolor, which I'm not going to demo, but I just want you guys to be aware of it. Generative fill, which we went over, and you'll be doing your own generative fill. But there's also text effects. So let's do something kind of cool. Let's do blueberry and orange juice, and the text we'll just call it juice. And what this does is it creates like almost like a new sort of, I don't know, text effect based on your prompt. Very similar to the text to image, but using a specific text that you put in. And it gives you 4 different options. And you can also mess with, you know, how tight do you want this generated visuals to come away from your text. You can choose the font type, background color, but this would be, this might be something cool you use for the landing page of your app, using it for like a logo. Totally up to you, but comes up with some pretty cool textures, and sometimes they're a little uncomfortable. You could do like slimy, snail, ribbons. So kind of just like be creative in your word use. Look up maybe like or use a thesaurus to look up synonyms and just like get real descriptive and weird with it. But yeah, and the last thing about the Firefly is I wanted to mention with my demo app, I used Firefly to make my skincare app logo. So basically, logo for skincare with leaves, fruit, and a microscope. Making sure it's in the graphic. And boom. Of course, I can regenerate this or do like generate similar. But what I would do is bring this into Photoshop. Maybe for this one in particular, I would bring it into Photoshop, give the background a transparency, maybe get rid of this weird sort of text because it looks like it's trying to put like some sort of text in there. Yeah, and basically just clean it up and then save it as a PNG, pull it into XD, and use it in my app. So, yeah, please use this. It will save you a ton of time and effort. But, as I said earlier, we're going to do the same prompt in the other two image generations. So what did we have? Turtle, Pope. I might have to go back because I can't remember. Turtle, Pope with Dragon Cult, Incantation Book, and a church. And then we'll do that again in Stable Diffusion. Give it a second. And this is what we got. Kind of interesting, the differences between this and the Firefly. I think the Firefly is way better. Although these are super cute. Like, and again, you're welcome to use this as like part of your app logo design. I think I was doing one, and it's funny when it generates text, it's just like clearly not English. And even for this one, I had like a specific brand name and still like struggling to get it to work. And then Stable Diffusion, these are kind of interesting. And again, so you're gonna like feel free, play around with these. You're going to get a lot of different results. And save them, edit them as you need in Photoshop. Give them, if you're doing like a logo, give them transparent backgrounds. But that's kind of like the summary of the 3 AI, like the image generations that we're going to be using. So, cool. I hope that all makes sense.